Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare.
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदानेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। बोलो श्री राधे गोलोकानंद भगवान की जय। बोलो श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
जय।
हरे कृष्णा तरुण।
Hare Krishna Vijayan. Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna everyone.
जय
Hare Krishna.
कृष्णा। All right. कल हम लोग 16th श्लोक पढ़ रहे थे एंड एज यू नो वी स्कंद 7 का फर्स्ट अध्याय। और जैसा कि हम लोग स्टार्टिंग में देख रहे थे, परीक्षित महाराज इज आस्किंग सुखदेव गोस्वामी जी and in the last shlok Yudhishthira Maharaj is actually asking Narad Muni that how come Shishupal, who has been jealous of Lord Shri Krishna every time, he has been opposing, but how did he merge into the body of Lord Shri Krishna at the time of leaving his body, and how is that possible when even the greatest devotees, right, great transcendentalists, don't achieve that kind of gati, and that's the question which Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking, and that happened during the Raj Suya Yagya, which Yudhishthira Maharaj was performing, right? So, and this is before that Parikshit Maharaj was asking Sukdev Goswami ji that how come Bhagwan is Samdarshi, Bhagwan Samdarshi hai, he should be equal to all, then why should he favor Devatas and not the demons, right? That was the question asked by Parikshit Maharaj, and Sukdev Goswami has been replying to that about the Satogun, Rajogun and Tamogun and how different gunas influence everything, right? It's not about Lord Shri Krishna not being Samdarshi, right? And then this is an example which is being given when Yudhishthira Maharaj was doing Rasuya Yagya, Shishupal was killed, but then Yudhishthira Maharaj himself saw Shishupal getting merged into Krishna's body. And that's where Yudhishthira Maharaj is inquiring, like, how is that possible? Yeah? Hello, Hare Krishna, Rinaji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
So Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired, it is very wonderful that the demon Shishupal merged into the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though extremely envious, this Sayujya Mukti is impossible to attain even for great transcendentalists. How then did the enemy of the Lord attain it? Yeah, he says Atya Adbhut, and is Durlabh Ekant Namapi. Yeah, it says Durlabh Ekant Namapi, like even the great transcendentalists, people who are devoted in spiritualism, right? They cannot achieve. It's Durlabh for them. How did the one who is jealous, Vidish, like Shishupal, attain that gati? Is the question Maharaj Yudhishthira is asking. Also says that there are two classes of transcendentalists, Jnanis and Bhakt. The Bhakt do not aspire to merge into the existence of the Lord, but the Jnanis do. Shishupal, however, was neither a Jnani nor a Bhakt. Yet simply by envy of the Lord, he attained an exalted position by merging into the Lord's body. Certainly this was astonishing, and therefore Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired about the cause for the Lord's mysterious mercy to Shishupal. And whom did he inquire it to? Whom is he asking to answer that? Whom did Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking to answer that question? Like, how did Shishupal attain that gati? Remember? Who is the Dev Rishi sitting during the Raj?
Brother.
Yeah.
Narad
Yeah.
Muni.
Narad Muni, yeah? Dev Rishi Narad Muni is sitting there, so there is no other better person than to ask that question too, right? So we'll start with Shlok 17. Anilji?
Yeah. Etadveditu Michamah Sarva Eva Vayam Mune Bhagavaninandya Beno Dujayastamasi Patitaha. O great sage, we are all eager to know the cause for this mercy of the Lord. I have heard that formerly a king named Bena blasphemed the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that all the Brahmanas consequently obliged him to go to hell. Shishupal should also have been sent to hell. How then did he merge into the Lord's existence? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so this is the question Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking Narad Muni, right? And if you remember, we read about King Vain. Do you remember? Yeah? We read about King Vain, who was in the descendants of Dhruv Maharaj. Yeah? And then how he was blaspheming everything and all that, and then Brahmins wanted him to get rid of him, and then that's where Maharaj Prithu was born, by churning the, like, out of Godesh Vishnu, and as a avatar of Godesh Vishnu and Mahalakshmi, right? If you remember that. But so that's the question which is being asked, right? Ajay?
Dash Dam Shoshasutah Pap Arabhya Kal Bhashanat Sampratyamarshi Govinde Dant Vakrasha Durmati. From the very beginning of his childhood, when he could not speak properly, Shishupal, the most sinful son of Damaghosh, began blaspheming the Lord, and he continued to be envious of Sri Krishna until death. Similarly, his brother Dantavakra continued the same habits. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Dam Ghosh, the father of Shishupal. So Dam Ghosh Shuta, that's Shishupal. Papa Arabhya started with all this, right? And so same thing with Dantavakra, was brother of Shishupal. Yeah. Tarun?
Saptadhar Asakrat Vishnum Yad Brahma Param Avyayam Svitro Na Jato Jivayam Nandam Vishusatus Tamaha. Although these two men, Shishupal and Dantavakra, repeatedly blasphemed the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, Krishna, the Supreme Brahman, they were quite healthy. Indeed, their tongues were not attacked by white leprosy, nor did they enter the darkest region of hellish life. We are certainly most surprised by this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Lord Vishnu Yat Brahma Param Vyayam. Yeah, that's how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is being referred. Yeah. And of course, Maharaj Yudhishthira is surprised by this. Says here, Krishna is described by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita as follows. Yeah. Param Brahma Param Dham Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Yeah. You are the Supreme Brahma, the Supreme Abode and Purifier. Herein this is confirmed. Vishnu Yat Brahma Param Avyam. The Supreme Vishnu is Krishna. Krishna is the cause of Vishnu, not vice versa. Similarly, Brahma is not the cause of Krishna. Brahma is not the cause of Krishna. Krishna is the cause of Brahma. Therefore, Krishna is the Param Brahma. Yat Brahma Param Avyam. Yeah. Arinaji?
कथम तस्मिन् भगवते दुर्वग्राह धामनि पश्यतां सर्वलोकानां लयमीयतुरञ्जसा. How was it possible for Shishupal and Dantavakra, in the presence of many exalted persons, to enter very easily into the body of Krishna, whose nature is difficult to attain? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prem.
Hare Krishna. Shishupala and Dantavakra were formerly Jaya and Vijaya, the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha. Merging into the body of Krishna was not their final destination. For some time they remained merged, and later they received the liberation of Sarupya and Salokya, living on the same planet as the Lord in the same bodily form. The Shastras give evidence that if one blasphemes the Supreme Lord, his punishment is to remain in hellish life for many millions of years, more than one suffers by killing many Brahmanas. Shishupala, however, instead of entering hellish life, immediately and very easily received Sayukta Mukti. That such a privilege had been offered to Shishupala was not merely a story. Everyone saw it happen. There was no scarcity of evidence. How did it happen? Maharaja Yudhishthir was very much surprised. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. एतत् भ्राम्यति मे बुद्धिर् दीपाचिरिव वायुना ब्रह्मोत्ततद्भुतमं भगवान् हात्रे कारणम्. This matter is undoubtedly very wonderful. Indeed, my intelligence has become disturbed, just as the flame of a candle is disturbed by a blowing wind. O Narad Muni, you know everything. Kindly let me know the cause of this wonderful event. Yeah? What's the karan of this wonderful event? Huh? Says the Shastra's opinion, tad vijnanaratram sa gurum eva bhi gachet. When one is perplexed by the difficult problems of life, to solve them, one must approach a guru like Narad or his representative in the disciplic succession. Maharaj Yudhishthira therefore requested Narad Muni to explain the cause for such a wonderful event. Anil?
Sri Badarayani Ruvacha Ragyasast Dvacha Akarnya Nardo Bhagwan Rishihi Pustaha Praha Tamabhashya Sranavatyasta Stada Daha Katha. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, after hearing the request of Maharaj Yudhishthir, Narad Muni, the most powerful spiritual master who knew everything, was very pleased. Thus he replied in the presence of everyone taking part in the yagna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So who is Sri Badrayani?
Sukhdev Goswami.
Sukhdev Goswami ji. Yeah? Sukhdev Goswami ji also known as Sri Badrayani Ru, right? He is referred as Sri Badrayani Ru many times. Yeah. So he is then telling to Maharaj Parikshit that after hearing that request, Narado and Narad Bhagwan, Narad Muni is being seen as Bhagwan Rishi, right? Bhagwan is the most powerful here, like the most powerful Rishi is Narad Muni. Yeah. So Narad Muni, the most powerful spiritual master who knew everything, was very pleased and he started replying. Yeah. Ajay?
Sri Narad Uvaj Nind Nastva Satkaranya Kararth Kalevaram Pradhan Paryo Rajan Viveken Kalpitam. The great sage Sri Naradji said, O king, blasphemy and praise, chastisement and respect are experienced because of ignorance. The body of the conditioned soul is planned by the Lord for suffering in the material world through the agency of external energy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, like in this materialistic world, we experience all these ninda, satkar, all those things are meant, yeah, for the body of the conditioned soul, for suffering in the material world through the Maya. Yeah, is what is being mentioned by Narad Muni. and actually a nice purport. So let's read this. Okay. Tarun?
In Bhagavad Gita 18.61, it is said, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridayadeshe Rajuna Tisthati Brahmanyam Sarva Bhutani Yantarudani Mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy. The material body is manufactured by the external energy according to the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conditioned soul, being seated on this machine, wanders throughout the universe, and because of his bodily conception of life, he only suffers. Actually, the suffering of being blasphemed and the enjoyment of being praised, the acceptance of a good welcome or of chastisement by harsh words are felt in the material conception of life. But since the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not material, but Satchitananda Vigraha, he is unaffected by insults or greetings, blasphemy or prayers. Being always unaffected and complete, he does not feel extra pleasure when offered nice prayers by the devotee, although the devotee benefits by offering prayers to the Lord. Indeed, the Lord is very kind to his so-called enemy, because one who always thinks of the personality of Godhead as an enemy also benefits, although he thinks of the Lord adversely. If a conditioned soul, thinking of the Lord as an enemy or a friend, somehow or other becomes attached to the Lord, he receives great benefit. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Says Ishwar Sarva Bhutanam. Yeah. Ishwar is present in everyone's heart. Reenaji?
हिंसा तदभिमानेन दण्डपारुषयोर्यथा वैषम्यमेह भूतानां ममाहमिति पार्थिव. My dear king, the conditioned soul, being in the bodily conception of life, considered his body to be his self and considers everything in relationship with the body to be his. Because he has this wrong conception of life, he is subjected to dualities like praise and chastisement. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, this is what Narad Muni is saying, right? He has the wrong, he has the wrong conception of life. What is the wrong conception of life?
That somebody considers his body to be the self.
Right. Right. Considering like body to be the self. Right. Like we are this body and not really the soul. That's the wrong conception of life. But that's what most people have because we are conditioned. Right. Because we are the conditioned soul. Soul gets conditioned as soon as it gets in touch with the materialistic world, with Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun, right? And we be in the bodily conception of life, we think body is the self, right? And when you consider everything in relation to the body, right, Abhiman, then what happens, right? Then we fall to the praise and sometimes chastisement and all that. But what Narad Muni is saying is because Lord Krishna is not this materialistic body, he doesn't get affected by the praise or anything else, right? Says here only when a conditioned soul accepts the body as himself does he feel the effects of chastisement or praise. Then he determines one person to be his enemy and another his friend and wants to chastise the enemy and welcome the friend. The creation of friends and enemies is a result of one's bodily conception of life. Prem sir?
यनिबद्धो हीमानो या तद वधात प्राणिनाम वधः तथा न यश कैलवलाद अभिमन्यु खिलात्मन परस्य दम्पतिर्हि हिंसा किनास्य कल्यपते. Because of the bodily conception of life, the conditioned soul thinks that when the body is annihilated, the living being is annihilated. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the Supreme Controller, the super soul of all living entities. Because he has no material body, he has no false conception of I and mine. It is therefore incorrect to think that he feels pleasure or pain when blasphemed or offered prayers. This is impossible for him. Thus, he has no enemy and no friend. When he chastises the demons, it is for their good, and when he accepts the prayers of the devotees, it's for their good. He is affected neither by prayers nor by blasphemy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. And who is saying this?
Narad Muni.
Narad Muni. Yeah, he's explaining this to Yudhishthira Maharaj and everybody else. Yeah. Anilji?
तस्माद्वैरानुबन्धेन निर्वरेण भयेन वा स्नेहात् कामेन वा युज्यज्यात् कथञ्चित् न क्षते पृथक्. Therefore, by enmity or by devotional service, by fear, by affection or by lusty desire, by all of these or any one of them, if a conditioned soul somehow or other concentrates his mind upon the Lord, the result is the same. For the Lord, because of his blissful position, is never affected by enmity or friendship. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Sachin.
Hare Krishna. Yatha vairānubandhena martyas tanmaya tamiyat न तथा भक्ति योगेन इति में निश्चिता vitihi. Narad Muni continued, by devotional service one cannot achieve such intense absorption in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one can through enmity towards him. That is my opinion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Actually, a nice purport. So let's read this. Ajay?
Sure. The essential point in this connection is that one should be only absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna 24 hours a day. There are many devotees in Rag Marg, which is exhibited in Vrindavan, whether in Dasya-rasa, Sakya-rasa, Vatsalya-rasa, or Madhurya-rasa. All the devotees of Krishna are always overwhelmed by thoughts of Krishna. When Krishna is away from Vrindavan taking the cows in the forest, the gopis in the Madhurya Ras are always absorbed in the thoughts of how Krishna walks in the forest. The soles of his feet are so soft that the gopis would not dare keep his lotus feet on their soft breasts. Instead, they consider their breasts a very hard place for the lotus feet of Krishna. Yet those lotus feet wander in the forest, which is full of thorny plants. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The gopis are absorbed in such thoughts at home, although Krishna is away from them. Similarly, when Krishna plays with his young friends, Mother Yashoda is very much disturbed by thoughts that Krishna, because of always playing and not taking his food properly, must be getting weak. These are examples of the exalted ecstasy felt in Krishna's service as manifested in Vrindavana. This service is indirectly praised by Narad Muni in these words. Especially for the conditioned soul, Narad Muni recommends that one somehow or the other be absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, for that will save one from all the dangers of material existence. Full absorption in thought of Krishna is the highest platform of Bhakti Yoga. Hare Krishna.
Rinaji?
कीटः पेशकृता रुद्धः कुड्यायां तमनुस्मरन् संरम्भभययोगेन विन्दते तत्स्वरूपताम् एवं कृष्णे भगवते मायामनुज ईश्वरे वैरेण पूत papmanast asma puranuchintaya. A grass worm confined in a hole of a wall by a bee always thinks of the bee in fear and enmity and later becomes a bee simply because of such remembrance. Similarly, if the conditioned souls somehow or other think of Krishna, who is Sachidanand Vigraha, they will become free from their sins, whether thinking of him as their worshipable Lord or an enemy. Because of constantly thinking of him, they will regain their spiritual bodies. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. Evam Krishna Bhagavati Mayam Anuj Ishware is what is being mentioned, right? Okay. Sachin?
कामात् द्वेषात् द्वेषात् भजा यत् स्नेहात् यथा भक्तेश्वरे मनः आवेश्य तदघनं हित्वा बह वस्तिग्दन्तिः गतः. Many persons have attained liberation simply by thinking of Krishna with great attention and giving up sinful activities. This great attention may be due to lusty desires, inimical feelings, fear, affection, or devotional service. I shall now explain how one receives Krishna's mercy simply by concentrating one's mind upon him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prem, sir?
Gopya kama bhyut kamso devasche dhapyo nripa sambandhaya vrishnaya snehad yuyam bhaktya vayam vibho. My dear King Yudhishthir, the gopis by their lusty desires, Kamsa by his fear, Shishupala and other kings by envy, the Yadus by their familial relationship with Krishna, you Pandavas by your great affection for Krishna, and we, the general devotees, by our devotional service, have obtained the mercy of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anilji?
तत्मोऽपि न वेनः स्यात् पञ्चानां पुरुषं प्रति तस्मात् केनाप्युपायेन मनः कृष्णे निवेशयेत्. Somehow or other, one must consider the form of Krishna very seriously. Then, by one of the 5 different processes mentioned above, one can return home, back to Godhead. Atheists like King Vena, however, being unable to think of Krishna's form in any of these 5 ways, cannot attain salvation. Therefore, one must somehow think of Krishna, whether in a friendly way or inimically. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Varun?
Impersonalists and atheists always try to circumvent the form of Krishna. Great politicians and philosophers of the modern age even try to banish Krishna from Bhagavad Gita. Consequently, for them, there is no salvation. But Krishna's enemies think, here is Krishna, my enemy, I have to kill him. They think of Krishna in his actual form and thus they attain salvation. Devotees, therefore, who constantly think of Krishna's form are certainly liberated. The only business of the Mayavadi atheists is to make Krishna formless, and consequently, because of this severe offense, the lotus feet of Krishna, they cannot expect salvation. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura says in this connection, Tena Shishupaladi Vinna Pratikula Bhavam Vidisur Yena Eva Narakam Yatithi Bhava. Except for Shishupala, those who go against the regulative principles cannot attain salvation and are surely destined for hellish life. The regulative principle is that one must always think of Krishna, whether as a friend or enemy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ajay?
Matri Shvastriyo Vashradyo Dant Vakrasham Pandav Parshad Pradro Vishnu Viprashapad Padachito. Narad Muni continued, O best of the Pandavas, your two cousins, Shishupal and Dantavakra, the son of your maternal aunt, were formerly associated of Lord Vishnu, but because they were cursed by Brahmanas, they fell from Vaikuntha to the material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So anyone knows who are the Shishupal and Dantavakra?
The two Dwarkas of Vaikuntha.
Right. Yeah. Two
Jai
Dwarkas of Lord Vishnu. What's the name?
Jai and Vijay.
Jai and Vijay. Yeah. So if you remember, we had read the story of Sanatan, the Sanat Kumars. Yeah. Going to Vaikuntha and right. So like Ravan and Kumbhakar and Shishupal and Dantavakra. Right. So like this, they had to take 3 births. Rinaji?
युधिष्ठिरुवाच कीदृशः कस्य वा शापो हरिदासः विमर्शनः अश्चध्येय इवा भाति हरेरेकान्तिनां भवः. Maharaj Yudhishthir inquired, what kind of great curse could affect an even liberated Vishnu Bhaktas, and what sort of person could curse even the Lord's associates? For unflinching devotees of the Lord to fall again to this material world is impossible. I cannot believe this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So when Narad Muni said that they were actually associates of Lord Vishnu, right? Shishupal and Dantavakra, and then they came down in the materialistic world. So Maharaj Yudhishthira is questioning that, right? He's saying that how is that possible? If somebody is already liberated, if somebody is Vishnu Bhakt in the spiritual world, right? If they are Lord's associate, then coming to this material world is impossible. I cannot believe this is what Maharaj Yudhishthira is telling this to Narad Muni. Yeah? And let's read this, Prem.
In Bhagavad Gita 8.16, the Lord clearly states, Mam upteya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. One who is purified of material contamination and returns home back to Godhead does not return to this material world. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Krishna says, Janma karma cha divyam evam yo vetti tatvata Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam iti guru sorjana. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Maharaj Yudhishthir therefore was surprised that a pure devotee could return to this material world. This is certainly a very important question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. When Lord Krishna himself is saying, Mam upetyatu kaunteya punarjanam na vidyate, right? One who is purified of material contamination returns home back to Godhead, does not return to this material world. So Maharaj Yudhishthira is saying, then how did that Shishupal and Dantavakra came to the materialistic world? Yeah. Sachin?
देहेन्द्रिया सुहीनानां वैकुंठ पुरवासीनां देहा संबंध संबंधमेतदाख्यातुमर्हसि. The bodies of the inhabitants of Vaikuntha are completely spiritual, having nothing to do with the material body, senses, or life air. Therefore, kindly explain how associates of the personality of Godhead were cursed to descend in material bodies like ordinary persons. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And who is asking this?
Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira?
Yeah, right? Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking this to Narad Muni. In a nice purport. Let's read this, Anilji.
Yeah. From authoritative sources, it is learned that Jaya and Vijaya were sent to this material world to fulfill the Lord's desire to fight. The Lord also sometimes wants to fight, but who can fight with the Lord but a very confidential devotee of the Lord? Jay and Vijay descended to this world to fulfill the Lord's desire. Therefore, in each of their three births, first as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, second as Ravan and Kumbhakaran, and third as Shishupal and Dantavakra. The Lord personally killed them. In other words, these associates of the Lord, Jay and Vijay, descended to the material world to serve the Lord by fulfilling his desire to fight. Otherwise, as Maharaj Yudhishthir says, Ashradhyaya Inabhati, the statement that a servant of the Lord could fall from Vaikuntha seems unbelievable. How Jay and Vijay came to this material world is explained by Narad Muni as follows. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Ajay?
Shri Narad Uvaj Ekada Brahmana Putra Vishwalokam Yadrichaya Sananda Nadayo Jagmushcharanto Bhuvanatra. The great saint Narad said, once upon a time when the four sons of Lord Brahma named Sanak, Sananandan, Sanatana, Sanatana and Sanat Kumars were wandering through the three worlds, they came by chance to Vishnu Lok. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Sanat Kumar, once upon a time, came to Vishnu Lok. What are their names? Will you remember? Sanat, Sananan, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. Yeah. So these were the four Kumars. And all the four were son of Lord Brahma. Yeah. They were actually the first sons of Lord Brahma, if you remember. And Lord Brahma wanted to expand this universe. Right? That's what he instructs the Sanat Kumars. But Sanat Kumars were already self-realized souls. And being the self-realized souls, they did not want to, they were not interested in expanding the universe. So that time when Lord Brahma got angry on them, then he throws something and that's how the Rudra Bhagwan appears. But anyway, so Sanat Kumars always wanted to stay as brahmacharis and also in the same age as they were. Yeah. So that's Lord Brahma's son, Sanat, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. Yeah. And they, go ahead, sorry.
एक क्वेश्चन है कि ये सनातन धर्म के ये सनातन इनसे कोई संबंध है क्या?
Yeah, I think this is just the name basically.
Oh, okay.
Kumar. Yeah. I mean, they are instrumental in a lot of things, but they're all brahmacharis and they are studying all the Vedas and everything. Basically, they're already self-realized souls, and they, of course, they're Lord Brahma's sons. Yeah. Okay, and they could wander anywhere in the universe, right? All three worlds. So once they wanted to go to Vaikuntha Lok. So it's also mentioned that till they went to Vaikuntha Lok, they were in the Jnani form, like they had the Gyan, right? They're self-realized Jnanis, but not in fully devotional service, not in the Bhakti Yoga. But when they went to Vishnu Lok and when they did darshan of Lord Vishnu, they totally translated themselves to Bhakti Yoga, to the devotion. Yeah. But just coming back to this, Narad Muni is mentioning that once they went to Vaikuntha Lok, Rinaji?
पंचषड्ढायना भाभाः पूर्वेषामपि पूर्वजाः दिग्वासस शिशून् मत्वा द्वास्थो तान् प्रत्यषेधताम्. Although these four great sages were older than Brahma's other sons like Marichi, they appeared like small naked children only 5 or 6 years old. When Jay and Vijay saw them trying to enter Vaikuntha Lok, these two gatekeepers, thinking them ordinary children, forbade them to enter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Jay Vijay tries to stop the Sanat Kumars. Right? Tarun?
सपन कुपिता एवं युवाम वासम न चाहत्यतः रजसतो मोभयास रहिते पादमूले मधुद्विषः Masurim Yonim Balisho Yadamashratah. Thus, checked by the doorkeepers Jaya and Vijaya, Sanananda and the other great sages very angrily cursed them. You two foolish doorkeepers, they said, being agitated by the material qualities of passion and ignorance, you are unfit to live at the shelter of Madhudvisa's lotus feet, which are free from such modes. It would be better for you to go immediately to the material world and take your birth in a family of most sinful asuras. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, like Papistama Ashuris. That's your name. That's where you should take birth, is what Sanat Kumar told them. Sachin?
एवं शक्तो स्वभवनात् पतन्तो तो कृपालुभिः प्रोक्तो पुनर्जन्म भिर्वा त्रिभिर्लोकाय कल्पताम्. While Jay and Vijay, thus cursed by the sages, were falling to the material world, they were addressed as follows by the same sages, who were very kind to them. O doorkeepers, after 3 births, you will be able to return to your positions in Vaikuntha. For then, the duration of the curse will have ended. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so 3 Bilokai. Yeah, after the 3 births, they will come back to the Vaikuntha is what also Sanat Kumar tell them. Prem?
Yajnate tau dite putrao dat danav vanditao Hiranyakaship jesto Hiranyaksho nujastata. These 2 associates of the Lord, Jaya and Vijaya, later descended to the material world, taking birth as 2 sons of Diti, Hiranyakashipu being the elder and Hiranyaksh the younger. They were very much respected by the Daityas and Danavas, demonic species. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, and we just read about Hiranyakashipu and the Hiranyaksh, right? And as you remember, Hiranyaksh, who killed Hiranyaksh?
Vara.
Yeah, Lord Vara, avatar of Lord Vishnu, and Hiranyakashipu is, we know, Lord Narasimha, right? Narasimha Bhagwan. So, I think we'll pause here and then we'll continue to read how Narad Muni is replying to Maharaj Yudhishthira. Yeah. And tomorrow we'll hear a nice kirtan of like how do you be absorbed in name of Lord Krishna is what is being mentioned, right? And that's what we'll hear.
Jai Radha Madhava
Right? So, Jai Radha Madhav. And then we'll see you tomorrow at 9:30.
Yeah.
Continue this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.